Hi, my name is Scott Tilton. I'm excited to be here with the Association for the Advancement of the French Language and Francophone Culture in the United States to kind of introduce my story. I grew up in New Orleans in a fairly large family. We had six of us in my family, and then 90 on my father's side residing in or around the city. I always joke that growing up it was kind of organized chaos. My upbringing was very vibrant. Perhaps what marked me the most was having Francophone influences in my family. Not everyone speaks French, but there's a sort of gravitas around the members of my family who do. And I also grew up during the kind of what was the vertigo years after Hurricane Katrina, which was sort of an important time for developing in my life because they would kind of develop this worldview that when we are connected to the outside world, we can kind of be more resilient. And so it was around that time that I really started learning French and had the opportunity to practice with my father. I also, kind of as an adolescent, started learning a little bit of French Creole at that time. And so I ended up, in terms of my own path, studying at the University of Virginia, where I did a lot of research on Francophone and Creolophone Louisiana. And after my bachelor degree, I ended up studying in Paris at Sciences Po for my master's. So it was while in Paris that I started working professionally as a consultant with Ernst& Young, mostly on projects for the European Union and for the French government. So a lot of my advocacy has been around promoting Louisiana Francophone and Creolophone cultures and communities. It comes out of a conviction that these cultures have left an indelible impact on our region in ways that are often I think, overlooked. And that these languages bring bridges and build bridges between Louisiana and the rest of the world in a way that makes them kind of our communities more dynamic and even healthier in some ways. So I came to France to study, and that's where I ended up meeting Rudy Bazinet. We had the opportunity to launch and direct an initiative from 2016 to 2018 that saw Louisiana become the first U.S. state to join the International Organization of the Francophonie. It was a long process that involved kind of jumping through a lot of different procedural hoops and kind of figuring out how to work with different actors, with the State Department, the Governor's Office in Louisiana, Codefil in Louisiana, which is an agency that directs French affairs, and other organizations to figure out how Louisiana could join. But we were accepted in 2018. As a brief overview, the Francophonie itself is an international organization that brings together 88 countries and regions around the world, and as a sort of part of a organization that works on cooperation and cultural outreach. And they represent 16% of the global economy and 1 billion people. So it's a huge organization, the second largest after the UN. And I think it represents a lot of promise for the future of Louisiana because in terms of cultural and economic opportunities, especially in a period that's really difficult right now with COVID, it presents ways for Louisiana to be working with its own Francophone and Creolophone cultures in ways that we can really help build out new opportunities through education and a lot of different other programs. So we break this from kind of working on the Francophonie and this initiative with Rudy, that we realize that there's a lot of activism in Louisiana to promote French, to promote Louisiana Creole. And that's why we decided to work. We founded the New Foundation. And the New Foundation is a cultural institute based in New Orleans. So we are moving back from Paris to New Orleans coming up to work on this project. And we break our mission for New down into three different parts. There's kind of the idea of promoting Louisiana French and Creole speaking cultures. There's also the idea of connecting Louisiana to the Francophone world by developing partners and demonstrating the dynamism of the Francophonie, not only in Louisiana, but across the United States. And also kind of, we would like to build a physical cultural institute in New Orleans coming up. So I think I'm excited to be here working with different organizations in the United States. I think we recognize that the more we work together to develop Francophone culture and Creolophone culture in the United States, the more visibility that we can render for these different projects. And I think New Orleans in Louisiana more broadly has this kind of great heritage and legacy of these cultures that has really enriched our cultures. And I think the more that we develop these ideas out for the United States and help reinforce the fact that the United States is also Francophone in addition to being Anglophone, and that we have a unique perspective, the more that we can really develop projects together and really help reinforce our communities. So thank you very much, and I really appreciate this opportunity.